you never really feel like something's missing. You sometimes feel like you gain more because we have more fish than other places, which doesn't make sense, right? Because I'm not using this, and you have more fish? Huh? But if you have knowledge and if you study just a little bit more, there's so many stuff out there that's more sustainable. Same as produce, the same as meat, same as anything. So let's just study just a little bit, right? My name is Hajime Sato, owner of the Sozai restaurant in Clawson, Michigan. People ask me what I do, and sometimes like I'm a cook. They're like, wait a minute, I don't cook things. I just chop things. I guess. So it's kind of weird, right? I don't know. Sometimes I tell people I'm a food maker because I make food. So I'm a food maker. So this style is called nigiri. Nigiri means to squeeze. So this one I kind of squeeze it, and that's what it is. So nigiri is a fish on the top, rice on the bottom, this style. It can be a finger food, and you can eat it actually upside down. We can do it together, then you can actually eat it this way. So what happens is, next one, is that you eat the fish first, then rice comes in and just blends in, instead of the rice first. So we can do that together.
We had a friend in middle school, and a little bit in high school, who would eat his pizza upside down because he said it was a different experience than putting the bread on his tongue first.
It actually makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
It was kind of funny back then, but now that you say that, he might have been honest.
Right. Yeah, I didn't tell you this. So your side you just ate is albacore tuna. Next one you're gonna eat is albacore tuna. So what's the difference? So what that you just ate on your side is a cold water, and the little darker one is a warm water. Exactly the same fish, different water. Makes a difference in the flavor too. If you go to the sushi bar, you should not get tuna. What kind of tuna? Where it's from? Is it in season? Those are the things that you should be asking. And chefs should be telling you those things too, but a lot of people only remember maybe 5 or 6 fish, and they fixate on that, right? The tuna, yellowtail, eel, maybe shrimp, like there's 4 or 5 things that people fixate on that. So everybody has to have similar things, right? It's almost becoming fast food. Like if you want to go to the burger, then you have to have certain kind of burger, then, or even chicken sandwich. Recently, everybody has their own version of chicken sandwich, right? So what we're doing is like going for like 2 or 3 fish, then make them go extinct, move on to the next one, go extinct, right? Instead of like a variety of things, slowly eating just a little bit so that they can recover all the time. But that's not happening. So just, okay, destroy one thing, okay, move on to the next one. Destroy one thing, move on to the next one. That is not really gonna work. Now, this catfish is from the south, and it's an invasive species. It's called the blue catfish. And we get it at the time that they're catching randomly. Some catfishes, the fillet is this small, some fish is this big. It's just whatever they randomly catch, we get it, and we process it and serve it. So that's what this is. Just don't buy it just because it's known, right? That's the tough thing about my restaurant is that sometimes you come in, and you don't get any tuna sometimes, right? And people are like, you don't have tuna? I'm like, no, but are you satisfied? And they're like, yeah, I'm satisfied, but that was kind of weird. Is it? Right? Just because all the other people are doing it, that doesn't mean that it's good, right? That doesn't mean that you have to do it, right? So, but break out of that is really scary for the restaurant owners because you know, everybody knows certain things and you just wanted to sell that because everybody's selling chicken sandwich, I should do chicken sandwich. You know, if I do duck sandwich, that's gonna be too weird. I'm not gonna sell it, right? That'd be really good. But, but that requires a lot more effort and a lot of teaching, you know what I mean? So And that's why my restaurant is more omakase based, right? Omakase is basically my choice to give you that. Or assortments. There's a lot of assortments. It's, again, chef's choice. Because if I put different weird fish in there, nobody's going to order it, right? Nobody's going to order that, right? But if it's a chef's choice, then I give you that. Then I'm like, oh, no, I would never order that, but I like it. If I go to the restaurant, especially a sushi bar, and entire year you go, and all the fish is exactly the same, there's something wrong with it, right? Fish actually has a season. Fishery has a season too. That's number one. And of course, technology of freezing the fish and all the stuff, so it becomes more consistent. But fish should not be exactly the same all the time. So there is a word called shun in Japan. It applies to vegetable, fish, meat, whatever that is. Shun means it's the peak of the season. Okay, so even there's a season, there's a beginning. Beginning is really expensive, right? Any kind of fruits or anything, like first catch, first harvest, right? Usually not that great because it's not in the peak. You're paying a lot more money for But of course you can tell other people like, oh, that's the first of this, and I have money. But if you go to the peak, that's the time that the flavor is really good, and there's a lot of them, so it's cheaper. That's called shun. That's anything that you buy. It should be buying that middle of the shun. Then everybody's happy, right? Even a producer wants to get rid of it. Seasonality is so important. And what we can talk about is, instead of chefs having a recipe, then buy things, right? Instead, go to the market, what's available, then come to the restaurant or home. It's like, I got this, now what? What can I make out of something you buy, right? I think it's a complete 180 on thinking of how you cook. I think that's more exciting, and that's kind of give you the seasonality and change the season. When I moved here, I was really impressed by this market. There's a market in Seattle like this too a little bit, but it's really commercialized, right? So that the like one apple can be like $2 or $3, like people cannot really afford it. So good thing about this is that oh, hello. There's a regular customer there. That's nice, there we go. So now I'm knowing a little bit. One good thing about this is that even compared to the even supermarket, it's actually cheaper sometimes. And you are connecting to the producer who's grown in Michigan, right? People come here and get fresh produce and cook something at home fresh from the producer that's local. I think that's wonderful. So hopefully we can get something today. It's really cold, but it's Michigan, so it's good. It's cold. Okay, all right. That was unexpected. That's kind of cool. Should we box this for 5? Yeah. Oh wow. Can I get like 3 of the 10 up? Yeah. So I'll bag of this and bag of the lion's mane, please. Yeah. More of the old school Japanese cooking is like this is what we get, and thank you from like the nature, and say thank you. So use everything. Like for instance, we make our own miso soup with the all the bones that we cut fish from, and cook it for like 5 hours to make a really strong stock. Then add miso to make a miso soup. And most of the places, literally, they have fish bones, throw it away, and put the MSG in there, make a soup. It doesn't make sense. Of course, it takes much longer to do that, but it's so much more flavorful, right? once you kill the fish, kill any animal, you should be eating everything. So this is the meat that the kind of left, close to the skin. I'm scraping it so that we can use it. There's so much good meat in there, right? And we kind of lost that kind of preciousness of like you killed something, right? And this sometimes bothers me a lot. At the time I'm serving shrimp heads, and they're like, oh, it's like eyeballs. It looks like it's alive. Yeah, it used to be alive. That's it, right? People don't have the association sometimes, right? People have this like perfect weird chicken breast. People don't think about used to be a chicken, right? So I bet those people who eat, chicken sandwiches, if I cut the chicken in front of them, like, would you eat it? They're like, no, that's gross. Like, no, that's the same stuff, right? It used to be alive. And that disconnect sometimes really bothers me. Anything that's a touch off thing, people throw away. Let's not waste it. Even like coho salmon we got this year, it's got little scar. And sometimes at the time they catch it, it's got touch of the scar, they cannot sell it. So they put it aside. So I'm getting that instead of throwing away. So most of the restaurants these days, even restaurant itself, nobody really cuts fish anymore. Isn't that crazy? Most of the restaurant, sushi bar comes in, like all the tuna comes in little packages, right? With all the coloring already, it's beautiful color, never fades. Like it doesn't even resemble the tuna anymore, right? So even the chef is, I think, detached from that. So it's just, again, detached, cut, all the stuff is cut. So you don't feel anything. So the chef doesn't really feel anything. Of course, they're gonna put MSG in there, in a soup, and call it a day instead of making stock. I'm honest, and I start the conversation by saying that I'm not 100%. Never will be, because I just cannot. I cannot go to all around the world and check all the fishery every single day and making sure that they're doing, like I cannot do that. But I'm doing my best. Again, you can criticize me, you can cancel me, but okay, fine, what are you doing, right? There's so many organizations out there. So if you don't know anything, you can go to Monterey Bay Aquarium. They have the Seafood Watch. That is a really good resource that you can look at. And they used to have a little card in the wallet too, but of course everybody's got a phone, then you can download the app. Say, okay, so salmon, what kind of salmon? Is that sustainable or not? No organization is perfect, number one. Number two, things change a lot, right? Yesterday, this fishery used to be really good, but today, maybe not. And Monterey Bay or even Oceana, that's really good. NOAA has a really good website. They might take about 6 months, maybe a year to catch up with the data. But if you don't know anything, at least just look at one website, learn about it, and say, okay, at least I know a little bit, right? Let's not eat eel, for instance. Eel is globally endangered. Let's start with that, right? Maybe hamachi, that's a yellowtail. Technically, it's not a yellowtail, but everybody thinks it's a yellowtail. Your life's not going to really change because there's so many other species out there that's good or even better substitute. I hate the word substitute, but so many other species you can eat. So you don't even feel anything. The good thing is consumer has a lot of power, more than you think. So instead of them telling you what to eat, right? We can actually tell them what to produce. Then we can change it. But we need enough people to change to pressure them, right? If we're doing the same stuff every single day, they're not gonna change, right? I'm not telling you to do crazy shit like me, right? That's a lot of work. Okay, I'm basically giving you a lot of information so that I'm doing 80% of work for you. But if you're not doing it, then I cannot really change the world, but you can.